better keep it on right now. Thank you for joining me today. I want to sign two bills here, then I'll go to the podium and make some comments. But you know, it's important to put an exclamation point on some bills that are passed, and particularly whenever it's part of my agenda, that gives me an opportunity to give an update on where we are on the legislation this year. And so the first bill is House Bill 1343, and I want to express thanks to Representative Les Warren for his leadership, as well as Senator Rapert. And this is a law enforcement support bill for the Arkansas State Police that reduces their retirement age from 30 to 28. This is something that is much needed with our state police to equalize them with the retirement provisions for the rest of state government, and they serve our state so well. So this will help as an incentive in recruitment and retention of our incredible Arkansas State Police troopers. So thank you all for doing this and leading the effort, and I'm pleased to sign this today. And this is the 23rd day of March. There we go. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you, Governor. Can we shake now?
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Les.
Thank you, Governor.
All right. And so that goes to the second bill. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
And the next bill is, I don't know whether Secretary Cook is here or not, but she worked hard on that last bill as well. No, this is Senator English, of course, and Representative Vaught, who has led the effort in the legislature to pass Senate Bill 107, which is to create the Computer Science Education Advancement Act. This is a huge step forward among many steps that we've taken in advancing computer science education in Arkansas. And this bill requires that a computer science course be taken as a graduation credit. In other words, to graduate from high school in Arkansas, you either have to have a computer science course in the career technical field or in the core subject field, and that gives you a credit, but allows you to graduate, and it can be considered as a science or a math credit as well. Thank you, Senator English and Representative Vaught, for carrying this important legislation. And I'm going to sign this.
It's our pleasure.
And March 23, 21, it is signed. And just let me comment that this bill allows Arkansas to stay in the forefront of national leadership on computer science education. We have led for 6 years our nation in a comprehensive computer science education program. This takes it up a notch further. There's only one other state, South Carolina, that's done anything like that, and so we are still in the forefront, proud of the leadership that the legislature has given this effort to give all of our students the opportunity for computer science education in our high schools. So thank you, Senator English.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you, Representative.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Let me, now that I'm back at the microphone, let me just make a couple of comments about this legislative session, that sometimes we just look at what grabs the headlines or the latest controversy, and we forget the very substantive work that's being done in this session. And I'm very pleased that we've already signed the task force bill with a task force on the future of law enforcement. That bill has passed through. It's been signed. I think we have a picture here of the signing of that bill, which included those representatives from the task force. And this will enhance accountability, training of our law enforcement officers. And this came after the George Floyd protest across the country and the terrible tragedy of his death, and it allows, we set up the task force that made recommendations on legislation, and this has been passed and signed into law. I've just signed the State Police Retirement Bill and the Computer Science Bill, and so there's 3 parts of my legislative package that has been signed into law. Yes, that's the picture of really some of our great task force meetings. We were the young protesters in civil protest about their concern on police violence. They were brought into the task force with law enforcement officers, and they worked together to accomplish something that was good for Arkansas. Very proud of them and that effort. And then we have a number of other bills that are in process. The teacher salary increase has been a priority of mine as part of my legislative package. It is passed through the House and it is headed to the Senate. And this is designed to raise the average salary in those school districts that are currently below the median salary for teachers. We've had really 2 different systems in Arkansas, one of the more prosperous districts that have recruited teachers and paid them more, and then you have our less prosperous districts that have been below the median average. This helps those districts that have been below to raise all of the teacher salaries here in Arkansas to the medium level. And Secretary Key is here, who's worked hard on that. Thank you for your leadership on it. And hopefully that will get through the House. It's going to be considered today in the House Committee. And we've reached an agreement, as you know, on the Emergency Services Act, which was part of my goals for this session. And with the great work of Representative Gazaway and Senator from Bryant, I'll think of his name in a second, that they worked hard on this. We reached an agreement on it. Senator Hammer, yes, Senator Kim Hammer did a good job on it. We're very satisfied with it. And the first presentation on this is the extension of the emergency that I've asked for another 60 days. That will be presented next Monday to the Legislative Council, and that sets the stage for that. What remains to be done would be issues of tax cuts, $100 million in the long-term reserve fund, and the needs-based scholarship. So it's a good point in the middle of the session to reflect on what has been accomplished in terms of my particular agenda, but also the work that still remains to be done. And I want to thank all the General Assembly that has made these substantive bills possible and this progress for the state of Arkansas. Now with that, we will begin our COVID update. Let me stop, though, just to see if there's any questions in regards to the legislative side of this before we go into our COVID update.
Any thoughts early on here to the women's sports bill that was just delivered?
That just, I believe, got to my desk in the last few days, so we have a process to go through. As I've said, I agree with the purpose of the bill and the intent of it, but whenever you're entering into a new area of legislation, you want to look at it carefully just to make sure there's not any unintended consequences. So we're going to look at it, but I agree with the intent of it, and I will continue to study it until we make that final decision.
We also had some rock stars here this morning presenting the bill to allow for student athletes at the college level to be compensated for their name, likeness, and image. Seems to have a lot of support early on here. Kind of what are your thoughts on that? And if it gets to your desk, do you know what you'll do with that one yet?
I haven't studied it completely, but here again, I appreciate Speaker Shepherd and his work on this to put Arkansas really in the forefront of taking care of our student athletes, to make sure that they are adequately protected, but they also it can be used as a significant recruitment tool and a competitive advantage perhaps. So I like the direction of it. Again, I want to study the bill, but I'm favorably disposed to that bill.